To do this recording, that's a lot easier than to actually put it in text again. But I've said the same thing since 2015, 2016, and it relates to a Stephanie DeSalis. And to cover up this, mental health got involved, and it's been ridiculous bullshit of, but what did Stephanie do to you that makes you hate her so much? And it's ridiculous. So I'm going to go with the fact again that Australia's lost its way, the way it's going around in circles with these organisations. There's criminal behaviour that needs to be dealt with by criminal behaviour, by police. People need to be charged. And I look at this and say, well, this Anthony Albanese, who's a deadbeat fuckwit, should be out. The left needs to be out. Bring back the Liberal government and bring back a legal system. So we're talking about criminal behaviour towards me. And let me just go with it. And I'm just going to jump back to how I knew of Stephanie DeSalis, because Stephanie DeSalis and myself never hung out. We were never friends, ever. We were never, ever friends, ever. She didn't know me. She knew of me. And this is exactly what happened. So it was late 2004. I'd moved into St Leonards, and I was still in the process of moving other belongings from my nan's place into St Leonards. And for an example, I had great pot plants and stuff at my nan's that I was moving in. There was a large balcony in the apartment I was renting in St Leonards, and I was turning that into this great garden, which even people like Rodney Sard can confirm that. So I was moving stuff from the suburbs back into the city where I was living. I lived in the city now most of my life. And I got a text message, or it was around that conversation with this guy, and it's going to be really long, so I'm going to explain it in exact details, so nothing's left out, okay? There was this guy, Michael Raptus, who I had only just met around about that period of time as well, when I was shopping in Birkenhead Shopping Centre. And messaged if I wanted to go for a coffee. Now, I used to always frequent the 24-hour restaurants and coffee shops because I worked in a 24-hour industry as a VIP host at Star Casino. So I went from, this is how my day panned out. I went from St Leonards to Paddington Town Hall, and Paddington Town Hall used to do the designer label warehouse. So like it would have Gucci, 80% off and things like this. I went from there to the Californian Cafe on Oxford Street, where I caught up with this guy for a coffee. Now, it wasn't really my type, so, didn't really go any further from the coffee, but while I'm there having a coffee with this guy in a coffee shop that I would frequent all the time, this lady, well, you want to call her that, this skank, came up to him, and I was introduced to her, and it was Stephanie DeSalis. Now, she involved herself, like basically planned herself in my life. I can go in so much details of conversations, but I just stick to the facts. The facts are we weren't friends. The facts is I was introduced to her, yes. Okay. Now, she did, stalk me. She found out where I lived. This is why I'm saying back in these days, she found out where I live, and it was like, oh, I've bumped into you in your area. So, oh, that's weird. I was in St Leonards then. She's turned up at your partner John Cabino's restaurant in Mossman. Things like this. Oh, she just so happens to be at your work. There's stories that she tells that is absolutely bullshit. She goes, oh, some bullshit story about her coming to my work, and there I was walking down this grand staircase to her. She's fucking delusional. Okay. She's a junkie loser. She was a junkie when I met her. She's a loser. All right. John Cabino, my partner, said, and I used to laugh it off all the time, and he'd be like, stop laughing this off. You can't see her for what she is. Okay. But he could. She's bad news. Stay away from her. And I used to say, oh, relax, John. She's a crazy fag hag. She's harmless. And John's like, no, she's got delusional fantasies about you. You can see this. She's delusional. Okay? She's stalking you. She showed up at my work. She shows up at your work. She finds out information about you, and she turns up. She's delusional. Stay away from her. She's bad news. So by July 2005, I did. So we're talking about, so me only ever seeing this person and her finding information out when I would go to Oxford Street to the coffee shop, the California Cafe. Okay. The only photos taken was if I walked past and she was out the front and she asked for selfies with me. And she did. I'm a 26-year-old, not to get anything of it. Going, oh yeah, we just had phones invented with cameras in them. So everyone was taking selfies of people, basically. Um, that was then when I was 26, right? So walked past, she's like, oh, just, come and give me a selfie type thing. So that's back when I was 26. I used to always go into that coffee shop, get a coffee, takeaway coffee, be on my day. It was one of those 24-hour coffee shops, and I worked in the 24-hour industry. Okay. She seemed to always be sitting there out the front. So again, by July 2005, I would avoid her like a plague, which meant I stopped going to that spot where I knew I'd run into her. Okay, to have only, and this is exactly what happened. John and myself were in Taylor Square in 2006. It was around the week of Amanda's wedding. There was that Stephanie saw me and plonked her ass down and was going off at John about this is what she said, my Justin. And John got the shits. Okay, John's like, you're fucking delusional, basically. You don't know him. And she doesn't know me. She does not know me. She's met me, yes, and then she has stalked me. There's a difference between knowing somebody and stalking them. So this is what happened. So idiots have then tried to turn this into, oh, it's trauma. She's done something to you. You need to move on from this. It's like, it's a criminal matter, actually. It's nothing more than a criminal matter where police need to press criminal charges. So in 2006, she plonks herself down. There's an argument between her and John. I'm laughing. John gets the shits because I'm laughing about it. And he goes, because I'm there going, oh, relax, John. She's harmless. And John's there going, no. And if you think she's harmless, then you can take her to your sister's wedding. I'm not going. That's exactly what happened. Now, this was about 2 days before my sister's wedding. Okay. I stupidly, to be a smartass. I was a smartass. And I looked at this and thought, oh, God, it's only Amanda's first marriage. Don't really care. So I looked at that and took her to Amanda's wedding stupidly just as a chaperone. And no one had ever met her before. So all of my family was like, who is she? We didn't know her. Where's John? They knew Rodney Sard, my other good friend. Like, it would have made more sense to take Rodney Sard if I wasn't taking my partner, John Cabino. But people were like, who is she? And that's what happened in 2000. Everyone's like, who's this person? No one knew her. Okay, because we were never friends, right? Then I realized, so after a few conversations, she was, number one, off her face. Two, she was just a weirdo that did have these, it was like, holy shit. She's telling people at Amanda's wedding that she knew me. I've known him as my cowboy. It's like, oh no, we've just met. She doesn't know me. She's fucking delusional. I'm like, oh shit. I've got to go home and eat humble pie to my partner, John Cabino, because he's right. Stephanie DeSalis was told in 2006, don't you ever show your face again or we'll press charges for stalking and harassment. Okay, so that was the last time I've had any, social, what you would say, as affiliate with her. She then showed up in late 2015 with the same behavior again of stalking people in my life, and I found out she was stalking my social media. Anytime she saw photos of me with people, she was contacting those people saying that, oh, we're close friends. We are not friends. We have never been friends. She is delusional. She's extremely delusional. Okay. I was introduced to her. Yes. Okay. That's as far as it went. She stalked my life, turning up at my work and my partner's work. Yes. She has delusional fantasies that we were friends. Yes. Definitely. We were never, ever friends. We never hung out. Like I said, I would walk past her, I was getting a coffee. That's it. This last 9 years is ridiculous. So there's her. Now, pin that, because this is what happened. I had people getting involved in my life and I'm there going, but we were never friends. So that's the short nutshell about it there. Then we can go to where there's a group of people a drug-fucked, deadbeat loser group of people that if the left wasn't in, these people would be locked up. Okay? That started involving themselves. It's like, I don't know these people. And seriously, just because someone briefly passes through my life and I look at them and say, yeah, they're nothing more than someone I've just maybe had sex with. For example, a Brett Aikenhead. I meet Brett Aikenhead in April 2015. I buy my dog from him and have a brief sexual encounter. By October 2015, he gets told the fuck off. I can elaborate further and have done so with a statement. It's true statement to facts regarding that. He had the shits because I didn't want anything with the guy. And then there was harassment in my life from that. I got harassed in 2016 when walking my dog around Rushcliffe Bay Park. I got harassed from Spencer and Spencer's sister. I'm walking into the coffee shop in Rushcliffe Bay Park that I used to frequent, and there's this Brett Aikenhead with this Abo guy and his sister waiting there for me. I'm walking around Red Oval side of Rushcliffe Bay Park with my dog, and I get approached by this guy in 2016 by the name of Peter Fry, who approaches me saying he's a friend of Brett Aikenhead's. Yeah, this went on. Okay. So that Peter Fry guy, I don't know at all. He approached me in 2016. Then Mark Henner. And now I've got the same thing. So, what did Mark Henner do to you? They're trying to manipulate and use this ridiculous bullshit. It's like this leftist behavior. I'm looking at these people going, you belong in jail. And to cover up your criminal behavior, you're using mental health and crap by saying, oh, but what did they do to you? We need to talk about the trauma that they've done so that way you can move on. It's like, no, it's a criminal matter. Police are meant to be charging them criminally. These aren't people that are friends. These are people that had nothing to do in my life that harassed my life since 2015. Mark Henner. Now, I've said this before. Yes, of course, I know Mark Henner. Know of Mark Henner from the past. I met Mark Henner in April 2002 on my 23rd birthday. That's right. Briefly would hang out here and there, have sex. I was young. Went to his 21st. Well, it was me that introduced the W Hotel at Woolloomooloo to him, because that was one place that I used to stay and hang out a lot. I used to actually go to the W Hotel with my mother's old secretary, Margie Clay. So I was always at the W Hotel. Okay, back then. I actually invited, I was staying in the city and staying at the W Hotel, and I actually called Mark Henner up to come and stay with me. And that gave him the idea, that night we're staying there. He's like, oh, I should have my 21st birthday here. So that's how that happened. So we had his 21st birthday there. It was so I introduced W Hotel to Mark Henner. And on his 21st birthday, he introduced me to a guy called Joey Menner. So Mark Henner's 21st birthday is in 2003. All right? So that's when he was 21, of his birthday. Now, I met Mark Henner April 2002, right? And I was living in Manly at the time. And by August 2003, I had nothing to do with him, because Mark had his 21st birthday. He introduced me to Joseph Menner. Close to August 2003, Joey Menner contacted me to go out on a date. Our first date was Joey Menner's birthday, which is the 1st of August in 2003. And we went out on a date, and I really didn't have anything to do with Mark Henner after that. So 2003 was the last time I had anything to do with Mark Henner. He shows up in 2016. Now, there's the timeline. Like I tell people, there's a good timeline. I'll tell you the timeline. There it is. Okay. So Joey Menner, the timeline with Joey Menner. Now, Joey Menner was told by me the first date, I have zero tolerance for people that use drugs and alcohol. So he knows this. All right. And he told me he smoked cannabis or something. And I said, well, you have to give it up, because I'm extremely anti-cannabis. And anyone who knows me knows that. Always have been. I've watched, my stepbrother and stepfather and cousins involved in it. It's just disgusting. So we only briefly dated. So this is August. Our first date was August 2003. Now, I left him in April 2004, the week of my 25th birthday. Okay. During that period of time, I was with Joey Menner. I had also briefly had a fling with, because I left Joey Manager in that time, I had a fling with Carlos Azzi, who used to own Giotto restaurant or cafe in Stanley Street in the city. That was Carlos Azzi. Used to hang out with him, and so forth as well. So I wasn't even with Joey Mena for a year, August 2003 until April 2004. Okay, then I moved back into the city because I was in the suburbs. Then I moved back in the city. I couldn't stand it being outside the city, and dated, on the side a few people, which I was dating, just a couple of guys and whatever. It was nothing serious. All right, so I can give a really good timeline. So when people have made up these ridiculous stories in the last 9 years since 2015, and they're trying to twist it into something it's not, the facts are that these are people who don't know me that police should have pressed charges against. Stephanie DeSalis should have been charged in 2006. Seriously, I should have actually listened to my partner, John Cabino Moore, who said, you should press charges. I should not have been that pushover that just lets things go and move on. So when stupid people keep making up these stories, and they're obviously people that are same like-minded with their mental health, drug and alcohol issues that Stephanie DeSalis have, and they're ganging up and sticking with their little deadbeat crew of losers of people. And they're like, but what did she do? What did Stephanie do? I'm like, Stephanie doesn't know me. You're making these ridiculous. You look like an idiot, because the facts are Stephanie does not know me. I was introduced to her, yes. She stalked me, yes. That's not knowing somebody. We've never hung out as if, never has it been, oh, I'm going to call Stephanie and hang out with Stephanie. That has never, ever happened. She was the crazy fag hag from the coffee shop where I brought my coffee. That's it. Although it was a bit worse than that, because she wasn't harmless, and she has absolute delusional fantasies about myself, my life, how I grew up, where I grew up, who I am as a person, everything. Absolute delusional. And in her own words, when I've actually screenshotted a message, I was trying to get her to come undone. I showed her a photo of myself when I was 25, one of my acting photos, and then when I was in St. Leonard's in April 2005. And she goes, oh, that's when I've met you. That's when I first met you. I'm like, yes, that's right, Stephanie. You met me for the first time, okay? For the first time when I was 25 years of age, okay? When I was 26, I told you, I avoided you like a plague. So we don't know each other. We know of. And this is the crap that people have just dragged into my life. And this is the bullshit I'm not standing for.